In rescuing, in sheltering, there are many different categories, many different reasons why we do it. We are introducing to you now, for those of you who don't know, but I'm sure many of you do, Hound Haven, a jewel of animal sheltering and sanctuary. Ang kanilang kinukup-kup is the military or working dogs of the police. They have a small shelter where they give these retired working dogs, military working dogs, a chance to be able to find a second life, a second home, a second, kumbaga, way of living. Sobrang ganda po ng shelter, sobrang alaga po sila at nakakatuwa. And it all started in 2014 hanggat nabuo at nagawa. This is an example of somebody who planned ahead of time, knew what they were capable of, and how far they could stretch. Please, panoorin niyo po to para ma-inspire din kayo sa creativity at pinag-isipan nila kung anong klaseng rescues po ang iaalagaan nila. Salamat po. Magandang umaga mga kabiyaya. Nandito po kami sa Bulacan. Ang kasama po namin is Hound Heaven. Ang kaibigan ko po si Maxime and si Jerome. Iba po yung istorya nila tungkol sa mga animal welfare focus po nila. Sila na lang po ang mag-i-istorya kung ano yung naranasan nila, bakit sila nagkaganito in the sense that bakit yan ang pursuit nila in animal welfare. At yung parang bakit ito ang malapit sa puso po nila. Maxine, hello. Jerome, hello.
Good morning everyone. Paano ba natin umpisahan, no? So, we started in 2014 originally. We're a family-run organization, essentially. So, noong 2014, nag-usap lang kami. I remember family gathering siya. And then yung cousin ko, na COO din ng Hound Haven, we were talking na parang...
Sino po yon?
Si Chelsea.
Kilala ko si Chelsea. Oo po.
So, nag-uusap lang kami kasi frustrated kami sa corporate jobs namin. And dream talaga namin na magkaroon ng animal shelter. So, sabi lang namin sa isa't isa nun, okay, by 2020, mag-animal shelter tayo ha. And then nag-snowball na lang siya. From there, we started researching. Nalaman namin na, okay, may mga animal shelters na pala sa Philippines, no? Pero wala pa tayong canine retirement and rehabilitation center. And then sa ibang bansa, sa US, meron na. Meron na rin silang law governing canine training, procurement, and retirement. But tayo, wala pa. So na-realize namin, why don't we focus, no? Mag-focus tayo sa isang very niche aspect lang ng animal welfare na hindi pa masyadong alam ng mga tao dito. And then we devote yung mga funding natin doon sa very specific part ng animal welfare na yon. So,
And I think making it yung niche na, yung subset lang, was worked well kasi nga family kami and we wanted to keep it that way. We wanted to make sure that we were really involved in the day-to-day. So it was a good idea. Eventually, we ended up 5 kami, Maxine, Chelsea, and then me, my sister. So family yan. And a very good friend. Oh, she's my niece.
Tito.
Yes. So,
Nako, hello, Tito.
oo nga. Ninong ako ng lahat. Ibang tao sa akin.
Oo. No, I think it's very important na tutuusin natin na it's a niche. So by definition, maliit.
yes.
Dedication is there because you still had day jobs at the same time, but you wanted to do something more and you specialized. Ganun po talaga. And yung concentration nyo is, I'm sure, did you think about the funding? And the funding is not just funding of finances, it's funding of time, allocation, resources. And so you had a plan and you thought about it. Ito lang yung kaya namin for now since it's a new thing, and it's very important. If you want to start a shelter, great. But what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your map? What's your roadmap? So you said, nag-start kayo nag-isip-isip 2014, 2020, but you started on
2017. So, hindi din namin siya in-expect. Nagulat din kami na, kasi we started talking to people. And very small scale kami. And in fact, hanggang ngayon, small scale naman kami. And it's something that works to our advantage kasi kaya namin. So, iniisip na lang namin minsan, ito lang kaya natin, pero kahit na 17 or 15 lang ang dogs natin ngayon, let's do our best for these 17 dogs. And maybe in the future, pag meron na tayong budget or resources, pwede tayong lumaki. Pero, kumbaga, hindi namin gustong kumuha ng more than we can handle. Kasi, in the end, ang kawawa lang din naman yung mga aso na mapupunta sa amin.
I think that's a very important point of view. Kasi yung minsan yung awa presents its own set of problems. Not only for the human, most especially for the animal.
Correct.
Yeah. So, who's your first dog?
Yes.
What's the name? And
Chika. So, actually, if tumingin kayo sa office namin, sobrang daming photos niya. So, yung kwento po kasi, Miss Rina, we started talking to the Army in 2015. Nung una, we were anticipating, nako, mahihirapan tayo, baka di tayo pakinggan. Pero nagulat kami, after just a few weeks, sumagot sila agad. Why? Because we realized na kailangan nila ng partners for retirement. We talked to the Philippine Army K9 Battalion. Sila yung pinakamalaking battalion size unit in the government. They have 80 dogs na active. 80 active working canines at the time. But in reality, meron silang more than 100. Mga retired na, mga retiradong aso na hirap na sila kasi they only have budget enough for those who are working. Pero yung mga retired na, saan sila huhugot ng budget for that? So, nung nalaman nila na may center like us, grinab nila yung opportunity kasi, kailangan natin to. We need to not give away, pero kumbaga ipapa-adopt natin sa external organization yung mga aso na hindi na natin napapatrabaho kasi matanda na sila, may sakit na sila.
Yeah, and there's a law. Well, I don't know because I also have from the Marines. I also supply them sometimes with sniffers because I'm trying to parang show them that Aspins can do just as good a job, right? So 5 years ang retirement ng aso sa Marines. I don't know about
5 years.
5 years sa Marines. It's 5 years mandatory. I don't know about the Army.
8.
Actually,
8. Sa
Right
amin,
now kasi po, merong COA Circular 2021 number 11, and that states na lahat ng aso in government service maximum of 8 years lang magtatrabaho.
Because we have the famous Alakdan. Alakdan is back with us in 5 years and a few months. He got retired. Pero super bum sniffer siya. He's a mixed beagle. He found 5 IEDs in Zamboanga Airport
Wow.
and in Cotabato. Yeah. So, ang galing niya. But after 5 years, the Marines said, okay, time to let him, kasi active duty siya for
Yeah.
all that time.
Actually, no, pag pinag-uusapan namin before, they were even saying, as long as
Pwede
Before
pa.
the circular.
ganun ang ginagawa nila.
Ah.
Minsan,
Hanggat
Baka
kaya
Army
pa.
iba. Kasi
Mhm.
I work a lot with the Marines. So, I already gave them 3 dogs. And nakabilik na yung 3.
Parang 5 is a good number, no?
Oh, yeah.
Kasi 8 is, for me, if big dogs, masyado nang matanda, it actually means na they work for more than half of their lives.
Yes.
So, when they retire, halos di na nila ma-enjoy. Pero kung 5, kaya pa, they still have the energy to enjoy life as
Alakdan
pets.
was with me. I don't know, Vogue did the feature. And Alakdan was with me in that feature.
Ah,
And he's residing in a Rockwell clinic.
wow.
He's the resident dog there.
Yeah. That's
Because we have duty there at night. The clinic is not open, but if we have patients, we always have to have somebody there at night. So
Yeah.
siya yung resident. We have resident cats and dogs there.
siya yung biyaya ambassador
Oh,
in
oh,
Rockwell
ambassador.
Clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what were the difficulties? Did you have difficulties for setting it up? Did the feel-good factor of setting it up compensate for those difficulties? Paano?
Well, as I said, no, maliit lang kami and we were lucky enough. For example, finding this place, the whole area, the farm, is owned by an ex-office mate of ours. And this used to be an operating mango orchard, and then generations after, parang hindi na masyado naalagaan. And when they found out that we were trying to establish, they said, "Oy, may lupa kami sa Bulacan, baka gusto niyo mag-rent." So we're renting this part of New Mana Farm. So this is where Hound Haven is. Maraming mga ganun, maraming mga gustong tumulong when they found out. Of course, meron ding when we were starting, marami ding mga who were thinking na parang, uy, maganda yan, tama, mag-breeder kayo. Actually, that's not
They
where
don't
we were.
understand. Well,
Right.
in that time, 2014,
Yeah.
animal welfare was nowhere on the map.
Right.
I mean, very few organizations, awareness was very low. So, and even now, but then, di ba? That's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Medyo, yon.
Ano pa bang mga hardships na? I guess, for any non-profit, funding is an issue, lalo na we're small scale nga, we're a family. So wala naman kaming, kumbaga wala kaming political machinery to put up something like Hound Haven. So, I don't know kung pwede ko ba sabihin ko lang, pero when we were having the space constructed, parang even our own properties, collateral for the loan. Sometimes, kukuha kami from our own pockets. So,
That's me.
yes. So, it's really not...
We're on the same boat.
Yeah. And even now, pag there are very lean months na
Yes.
mahina talaga yung donations, anong gagawin natin? Alam nga naman
Dig
magutom
deep.
yung mga dogs.
Butas yung
We have to dig
bulsa.
deep. Very, very deep.
Ambag, ganun lang.
Oo. Ambag-ambag. Yeah, so that's still an issue. Pero, I guess, the feel-good factor, knowing you're making a difference. Pag pumunta kami dito, nakikita namin yung dogs. I think that makes up for it. Kasi, it just makes you...
Yung sinasabi ko, it's a psyche income. So, it's nothing that can be measured.
Exactly.
Diba? You can't put that on a report.
Mm.
And I think I always talk about connectivity. So when we talk about, I always say humans are hardwired for connectivity, especially Pinoys.
Mhm.
Diba? Did it bring you guys together as a family?
It really did. So when we started, kasi they were, well, 5 years younger than they were now, talagang ninong pamangkin ang
Dating.
relationship,
Ah.
di ba? To me, they were young, and they were the new generation, up and coming, trying to make something really, really worthwhile, which was admirable. But over the years, nag-iba na yung relationship, naging mas parang
Patas.
collegial na, di ba?
Oo.
Colleagues na kami, parang, vaccine, kailangan natin ng ganito, kulang ng ganyan, let's make sure we have funding for next month. So, nagbago in that sense yung relationship na.
Yeah, and I'm sure discoveries.
Yes. Well, as a family, nung una nagugulat kami, mag-i-email ako sa ninong ko. Paano ka ba? Hi, Ninang.
Yeah.
So, naging professional in a way. Because we have to run an organization and very important yun sa amin from the get-go. We have to do this right. So, it's not going to be parang nagkakatuwaan lang na, we want to put up a center. We have to be professional in the way we run this kasi we want legitimacy. Kumbaga, even though we're small scale, pag nakita tayo online or when they work with us, dapat trust nila tayo. Kung magdo-donate sila, alam nila they are the money that they are donating.
Where it goes.
It's going to the dogs. If it's not going to the dogs exactly, it's going to maintenance of the center or paying off salaries ng canine handlers namin so they can take care of the dogs. So, I'd like to think na we try our best to be transparent in terms of where the funding goes. Of course, there's always room for improvement. Nung una gusto namin, let's put up a report every year sa website natin. But then, since we're small nga, meron pa kaming mga kailangan, we probably need the resources. Ang mahirap yung time. Finding the time and the energy na gawin lahat ng mga gusto namin gawin for Hound Haven. Although ang dami naming mga plans for us to grow in the future. So yeah, hopefully we get there. But hindi naman kami nagra-rush.
Jerome, what's your discovery about yourself from doing this?
So, sabi nga ni Maxine, we've always been a family of dog lovers kami talaga, pet lovers. When we first started, sabi ko nga, kailangan mag-commit tayo kasi may kalayuan to, no? We live in Quezon City, I now live in Antipolo, but really, over the years, I found na kaya pala, di ba? Kaya palang every week or every other week nandito, kaya palang yung mga dogs kahit pag una mong nakita medyo cautious ka kasi iba yung dating nila yung mga canines eh. But I've found na kaya kong gawin and there are people around and even the dogs nakikita ko na meron silang parang I think they can tell if a person is parang a dog person. Alam mo yun? You have
Or
friends
a dog person.
you have friends over in the house and alam talaga nung dog mo kung sino yung pwede niyang lapitan, sino yung magpa-play sa kanya. I believe that dogs can tell
Did
us.
you have family?
No.
Okay. So, this becomes your family.
That's true. I also have dogs of my own. I have 8 dogs living with me. And for a time, I had one of the canines kasi ganun din ang ginagawa namin eh. Pag merong kunyaring dog na medyo malubha na yung sakit and we want that dog to be near our other vet in Quezon City, so nakaano siya, para siyang naka-foster either sa QC or in one of our homes. So I had that before with Nikita. She was very weak. Kailangan ng subuan para kumain. So I took her in. So I had her for her last 1.5 years. So doon na siya sa akin nagpasa.
Yeah, because that's what I notice about the canines because they work as a buddy system. So originally for Alakdan, I brought him home, right? And he was just running around my house and everything's fine. But he needed a human constantly. So that's why I thought, and he clicked so well with one of our vet nurses, si Daryl. So I said, parang vibes kayo. Sige. The two of you na, that's because he had that, because they stick to one handler who trains them, who sees to all their needs. So it's again a different aspect of being a dog. Very different from a stray.
True.
Or very different from an abandoned or neglected dog or a dog that's used to just being free. They're used to being on a leash. They're used to being walked. They're used to... So that connection,
Yeah.
that human connection is very vital for them. So yung iniisip ko, just from the top of my head now, you can't have so many dogs because you're gonna have to have so many humans to handle those so many dogs. Kasi it's that kind of relationship ang kailangan.
Right. And you're right nga with canines, we find that mas maraming issue yung dogs who cannot deal with other dogs
Yes.
rather than dogs who can deal with, kasi kaya nila talaga pag tao eh.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's all these different aspects of dogs. For me, it's a discovery that you discover so much about them, but you also discover about yourself, right? How about you, Maxine?
About myself,
Because I know I saw your post. You have 2 dogs, small
I-
dogs.
I have 2 dogs and 5 cats at home.
Okay.
Well, discovery about myself, I guess I would say I'm introverted. But when I started Hound Haven, mahiyain ako eh, no? So parang unusual for me yung pupunta ako sa stage and then magsasalita ako na tulungan nyo kami para matulungan namin yung mga canines na inaalagaan namin. Unusual yun. Hindi siya natural sa akin. Yung public speaking or going to events tapos kailangan introduce ko yung sarili ko and then I'm from Hound Haven, blah, blah, blah. But naging mas madali siya kasi when you want something to work, gagawin mo kahit ano. So, nung una, when we were setting up Hound Haven, kahit nakakahiya, going on TV, papa-interview ka, or magsasalita ka sa maraming tao, dumadali siya. Masarap na siyang gawin kasi gusto ko yung ginagawa ko. I like what I'm talking
And
about.
it's not about you.
Yes.
It's for the animals.
And the
That's what makes
advocacy.
That's what makes it easier. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko. I know this sounds kind of a bit rude or what, pero sabi ko, I'm a animal welfare whore. Animal welfare whore ako. Kasi parang I can do it if it's for the animals. Now, for me, doon ako mahiyain. And if you look at me, you think, oh, I'm not shy, but I am. I'm a strange kind of introverted person. But if it's for the animals, sige, I'm up
Yeah.
to plate for it. You know, if it means that I have to call you out, of course, not publicly. If I have to call you out, or if I have to ask for, because I'm very independent. It's very hard for me to ask for money.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of pride. But if it's for the animals, sige, tulungan
do
nyo
it.
naman ako, or help me naman, what can you tell me, or am I
Yeah.
doing this right? Because it's not about me, and it's not nagmamarunong,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that's one thing na hindi namin na-realize when we were setting up Hound Haven. Nung una, syempre, we were younger. Iniisip namin, gusto namin siya gawin kasi wala, dog lovers kami. We want to be with the dogs. Ang hindi namin na-realize, it's a people job as much as it is an animal job. So, ang dami naming nakakausap na tao, ang dami mong kailangan i-PR, so to speak, just to get the advocacy across.
Yeah.
So, nung mga first few years na nasabi namin ni Chelsea, parang gusto lang naman namin ng dogs. Bakit namin kailangan? Parang ang thinking kasi namin,
Pasukan to.
parang ang philosophy nga namin in life is more dogs, less people. Parang gano'n. But then,
I'm totally like that. I prefer them to humans. Sorry.
yes.
Ang gulo ng tao eh.
Pare-pareho.
Correct.
They're
So,
not complicated kasi.
exactly. They're pure. If galit sila sa'yo, if ayaw nila sa'yo, ayaw nila sa'yo.
Yeah.
Gusto ka nila, gusto ka nila.
Yeah, that's it.
So, they're very transparent like that.
Oo.
People are not like that.
No.
So,
Wala eh.
Yun. But, yeah, you do the people job because you love the animal part of it.
Yeah.
The animal part of the
But I find that beautiful because you're forced to be human.
Yes. Because you see how dogs have really high standards,
Yes.
and you learn from them.
And you use that practice on the humans.
Exactly.
In fact, I was talking to someone similar, and may advocacy na parang, ay Rina, I don't know how you do it. You talk to all these LGUs, da 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 da. Sabi ko, there's a famous saying, how will you shine if you're afraid to be rubbed? You have to be rubbed, and to be rubbed means to be polished. And then you get to see who you are, what you're made of, because it's, again, not about you. It's for something, someone
Bigger than you.
the animals, etc., etc. So, because do you ever get that na, bakit ito yung advocacy nyo, mas binibigyan mo yung importansya yung mga hayop kesa na sa tao? You
We've
get that?
had that comments on
Yeah.
Facebook. Nung una, may pikon na parang gusto mong mag-respond. We've learned to shrug it off or respond in such a way na we don't need to pit. Parang bakit tayo kailangan mag-compete? These are
Yes.
two important things. If may advocacy ka na para sa tao, may advocacy kami for animal welfare, those aren't clashing
No.
advocacies. We can actually help each other.
Well, this is my point. At the end of the day, who benefits from the animals? The humans.
Exactly. I really like the saying animal welfare is human welfare. Because
Definitely. It is. And that's why when I say, okay, so how many jobs
Mhm.
do you give? And these handlers, their fulfillment, I'm sure, is quite high than the regular job.
It's true. Yep.
Right? So, in the end, everybody benefits.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, why? Ang kitid naman ng right? So, and sabi ko, and sometimes pag inis, parang, bakit? Humans can help themselves.
Mhm.
The animals are at the mercy of the humans.
Exactly.
The abuse comes from the humans. The abandonment comes from the humans.
Mhm.
The neglect comes from the humans, di ba? And I always say na parang, they teach you to care for something other than yourself.
I think it's a good way of looking at it, di ba? Yung parang, you do the good that you can. Di ba? Ang dami-daming pwedeng gawin, ang dami-daming kailangan ng tulong. We chose to focus on this area because reasons, but it needs to be done.
No, but I believe there's talent. You have a God-given talent and you have a God-given propensity. So it makes things easier if you like what you're doing. I see it all the time with the handlers, the nurses, the vet techs. Kilala ko na sino yung pang-compliance lang, pang-clock in, clock out, and sino talagang yung may hilig. And the one who has hilig has a much better time of it. So we're all born to do something for connectivity. You can have human adoption as an advocacy. You can have street children. You can have substance abuse. You can have alcoholics. But it's what's natural to you, because then it half the problem is solved. So if this is your calling and you're honest about it, then you've never worked a day in your life. Even if you're exhausted, you're tired, you're worried, you have anxiousness because this or that, like that when you say, oh, it's a lean month, that's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure during COVID,
Yeah, those were very lean years.
diba? Even I don't know, how did you get the food in here? Did you find a way to be able to get food? Because that was another issue, trying to find food.
Remember,
May
we
checkpoint
know this person who had parang ID na he can travel kasi parang I think delivery driver talaga siya. So through him, we were able to send food dito kasi we find that it's more mas available of course sa city yung mga kailangan nilang food. So we would buy that there and then have it transported.
Delivery.
Yeah, because it was I experienced it
True.
during COVID,
Yep.
and with so many. that you needed to feed, I was like, I can't begin to tell you. I think I didn't sleep for a year, just getting worried about,
Yeah.
how do you feed so many, right? And then I got stuck pa in Baguio. 10 weeks yon. Got stuck in, because we also have a sanctuary in Baguio, and you could only go out to buy. We were coded by barangay. So you wouldn't be allowed into SM, into all these areas,
Or
unless
even
it
for
was
essentials.
you were coded like a car, right? So only Tuesdays and Saturdays, because you're from barangay so and so, you had an ID from barangay, and that you could only go out that time. Nakakatakot talaga. Grabe.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and it brings out this tenacity.
The grit.
Yes, the grit. So tell me, what are your plans?
For Hound Haven. We're really taking it day by day. I think yun yung ano namin. But of course, for me, ang long-term plan namin is, ang dami kasing nagbe-message. Particularly like, there's the PNP Aviation Security Group. They've been calling kasi they have 5 dogs for turnover. 17 dogs lang ang capacity namin. So, ang plans namin, ang hope ko is in the future, we'll have enough manpower, resources, funding to be able to expand our operations para maka-take in kami ng more dogs from the
Oo.
more retired canines para maka-accommodate kami ng more canines. So that is my hope. But short term, right now, adoption ang pinaka-worry ko. Kasi wala pa tayong successful adoption this year.
Yeah.
None yet this year. It's hard for us kasi we get a lot of inquiries na kasi when we get adoption applications, usually ang tanong nila, ano ba, may list of requirements ba? And sobrang hirap kaming sagutin yon kasi I don't know, Rina, do you have like a hard list? Kami kasi wala eh.
We have a contract, and
Yes, we have a contract.
and in the contract it stipulates.
Well, yes, pero in terms of requirements, like we don't say dapat yung house mo ganito kadaming square meters.
No.
Right?
We
So,
have a video interview
yes.
to see the space.
Yes.
We ask how many members, are you financially capable? All the usual
Yeah.
questions, and then we bring the animal.
Exactly. So parang tinatanong nila sa amin, if we have like that very specific, should I be earning X pesos
ganun
a
ka.
month?
Oh, okay.
For us kasi, we don't really have that. What we try to look for is commitment.
Mm-mm.
And sobrang hirap niyang i-measure ang commitment. Pero I don't know, pag animal lover ka, pag pet owner ka, it's a gut feel.
It's a gut feel, and and then when you've done it enough times,
Yes.
you
May
get
mga red
practice.
flags.
Yeah, you see already the red flags.
Yes.
You and part of it is making mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes for as long as you can retrieve the animal.
Yes.
And then just learn from it, kasi really the variations of this, the people, they don't understand what is really, they think they understand what is required, but they don't. We've had an influx of surrendered or rescued husky, Great Dane, two
These are big
chihuahuas
things.
yesterday, because they think they want to have like a purebred, but they don't realize they're harder to care for.
More
Yan yung
expensive.
si Great Dane, isang malaking bag, tapos ka na in 1 week. Ubos ka. So what? For food pa lang, it's already what? 15,000
It's
pesos.
a financial
Diba?
responsibility talaga.
Diba? The deworming is more, the bravecto is the bigger I mean, everything across and so it's like, huh? And so I don't wanna call out people, but when I saw the Great Dane, who was supposed to be at least 50 kilos, and she was 24.
Namasi ito siya.
24. It's talagang platelet was crashed. Parang, whew, right? Or now, 2 senior chihuahuas. They're 12 years old. Sige, just, or they bring it in, can you PTS? What? Not the chihuahuas, another, parang, what? Hindi. Wag, kunin na lang namin.
Yeah.
Right? But we also have us, because we have a hospital, we have the problem of, I don't know if it happens to you, because this is a little bit further off. They come, they bring the animal, and like, can you give something? And we give up. We say, give us 25K. Just to see, are you committed or not? It's not that only because of the money, but we have expenses. So just to vet out a dog, you know how much that costs to run all the tests, to fully vaccinate,
Yeah.
to kapon.
Yeah.
10,000 pesos is gone.
Yeah.
Easily. And that's because we have the capabilities. But if you bring the dog to get spayed or neutered somewhere
It's more
else,
expensive.
it's more expensive. So pagkain pa lang. Right? So what happens sometimes is they say, no, can we'll give it to you in gifts, or like, and that's when I know, okay, parang, you're committed. But then if you don't accept or whatever, then they bash you online. So it's like, what do you think this is? We have 1,300 animals. Do you think we can just take in all the time? So, there's that human aspect they want to rescue. And that's why I really want to highlight you guys. You know exactly your capabilities, what you can give. And this is something that people have to realize. We cannot shelter and rescue our way out of this problem. Kapon has to be part of the solution. And that's what we have to make our countrymen understand.
Yeah.
Because when we go, especially sa provinces, wala pa kasing to eh.
Or may awa.
Oo,
Nakakaawa naman.
Oo, and it's like, why are you the one being kapon? Although it would be a good idea. But especially the men. I don't know why.
It's this masculine thing. Kawawa naman yung aso ko. Pa-experience ko, may ganun.
Parang,
Bakit?
sorry, I don't think it's the same thing. It's more, they don't realize that reproduction for them is a DNA switch. Their biological clock clicks in,
Yes.
and that's what drives them. It is not a human
Need for...
need for that kind of satisfaction.
Yes.
Diba?
And they have to understand also na pag nagkapon ka, the dog can actually lead a healthier life.
Healthier, longer, hindi paaway.
Yes.
Those are the things na parang, so that's the other side of what I'm trying to do. We're trying to, with these people, si Historia, we're trying to make a book for kapon,
Yeah.
a book for pet parenting for kids, a book for rabies, explaining, and how do we rule it out and make a workbook for the public school system. Although there are many that na daw of those, but parang kulang eh.
Yeah.
Parang kulang.
Well, I think it's also because much of the learning for, animal kindness to animals is really done at home.
Home.
So it really starts at home. Growing up, I didn't have that. Wala namang ganun sa schools. It was reinforced at home kasi nakikita ko yung parents ko, yung family ko, ganito sa dogs. And I think that's how my love for animals started. Kasi lumaki ako sa ganung setup, sa ganung environment. So, we have to educate the adults, perhaps even more than the kids.
There's a study kasi, you're supposed to discount them na. It's no longer effective. It's actually below 9 years old.
Oh my, don't teach an old dog new tricks. Hopefully not everyone.
Not hopefully not
Yeah.
Hopefully
everyone.
there are
No,
outliers.
yeah, hopefully there are, but I don't know if you know, I filed a case against uh, uh, father and son team in San Pedro, Laguna.
Okay.
10 days ago, um, they really beat this dog up really badly, and it got viral and all of that. And there was a 13-year-old boy included in that, as in beating the dog with golf clubs. And that went viral. And it's so funny because of how things work. I got the video from one of our contacts in Nueva Ecija. It was in San Pedro, so I rushed to San Pedro anyway. And then I don't know if you know Eclair Reyes. She was able to take the dog ahead of time. Then she sent me the dog, but I'm the one who made sampa the kaso. Originally, I didn't want to make, because when I met them, I went to the barangay thing and I met it. He's a tanod, the one who made Silo the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? So, then I met the son who's an out-of-school youth na 1 week pa lang, first year college, first year high school lang ang natapos. So, originally, I said, oh wait, baka if you go back to school, think about it. Why don't you go to school? I saw how things were in that place. But what I couldn't take was that the 13-year-old boy was there, and when I reviewed the video again, there were 8 or 9 children who saw it, who witnessed it, and about 12, 13 adults who
Who didn't
nothing.
do anything.
Nothing. So sabi ko, I can't just let this go. So the next day, I got my lawyer. We went back to the place and we filed the case, put the case together. PNP helped us. Because the first thing I did when I got there was, sino nakagat? Because I didn't have the whole story. Okay. Kayong tatlo? Okay, come, let's go. I'll pay private because it was a holiday. I said, I'll pay private. And then I paid the private for all the 4 shots plus the iri, iri. And I said, that's all paid for. Bahala na kayo to come. Right? So that's the first thing I did. Then we went back and I talked to the tanods and I asked, wait a second, what happened? Then the story became clear because the children were she had just given birth. And the children were trying to get the puppies. And so she beat them.
Is this justice?
Yes.
I've seen your post.
Justice. And for me, parang, from the shock, wait, then review. I didn't sleep for 3 or 4 nights. Just because, when you see the video, it's really horrible. And then it's parang, well, where did the golf clubs come from? Huh? They don't even have a motorcycle. How do they have golf
And golf
clubs?
clubs are expensive.
Diba?
Really
So
expensive.
there's another story to all of this as to why they were so able and capable of doing that. So let's stick na lang to the cruelty muna and whatever, but there's a bigger, darker demon there. And but for me it was like the children. And so when I went to talk to the children, they were lying. All the children were lying. The grown-ups were lying. And I caught it on camera. And then when GMA 7 went, umiba na naman yung storya. But because that night, pinablatter ko na sila, very inconsistent yung stories. So in my mind, it's like, I'm saying this in relation kasi to the grown-ups. You're saying like,
Yes.
let's hope there are some outliers. Because if that's the environment that they grow up in, you normalize cruelty. And what I'm trying to say right now is like, we need to respect life, whether it's a plant, a tree, the environment, animals, humans. We start with the smallest things. And that's why for me, it's like, I'm seeing, this bigger picture because, in our recent past, there have been many violations for life in a recent political past. And it was what was perpetuated. How do we roll that back? How do we take that all back? And I really firmly believe when you take care of an animal, especially a dog, cats also, but especially a dog, you learn to respect. You learn to respect. And that's why when people tell me, oh, Rina, what's this thing you have? Kasi I don't say, don't shop. I don't say that.
Okay.
I'm more of adopt. Just adopt. Why? Because I respect breeds. I respect breeds. Yeah, I respect breeds. Why do I respect breeds? They were built over hundreds of years to do specific purposes. Man evolved because they bred a dog for a job. To help with the farm, to protect fishermen, companion, the toys. That for me is precious. And that imprint, I call it an imprint between a dog and a human, is so in our DNA. And I don't want that destroyed. And that's why for me, you disrespect a dog, you disrespect yourself. So how do you look at yourself?
Yeah.
And that shame, you don't know about it, but that shame you carry with you. And that's why for me, it's very, very important. And we need to respect all these things. Diba? So, sorry, ano na ako. It's,
No, I think
it's just,
it's really touching yung kwento mo about yung bata and yung mga elder I think it's very important na hindi pwede mo namang matutunan yung mga ganong bagay, di ba? When I grew up, I was a very typical, may dog kami, bantay sa labas, that's it, di ba? We weren't doing any harm, but
yes.
parang ganun lang. It was when we grew older that we learned na iba pala yung feeling mo pag ikaw mismo nag-aalaga, nagpapakain, nagpapaligo, nag-ano sa mga dogs. And that's when it grew eh. Kaya lahat kami eventually naging lovers of dogs. Kasi meron talaga, you mentioned it earlier, it's intangible. But it's a reward, a feeling that you get when you know that you're responsible for and doing a good job of taking care of an animal.
And it teaches you care eh.
Yeah.
And you really see their capacity for love. Parang sobrang touching yun na even when you rescue, you take care of a dog na abuse or naka-experience ng neglect, pero their ability to trust again another
gosh,
human and love again,
Yes.
parang wow, these animals, these dogs are so pure.
So
I can only be
pure.
not even half as good as them,
Exactly.
but I'll do my best.
And,
Diba? So,
yeah, and that's growing up, all my kids had animals.
Yeah.
Right? And my main purpose was because the dogs could teach the children unconditional love, which I, as their mother, probably would not match. Because I had certain ideas. Oh, ikaw, you have to be like this. You have to be like that.
yeah,
The dog just loves you as is, where is.
no expectations,
No,
right?
parang, oh, today you're in a bad mood, okay. Oh, today you're happy, we can play, okay.
Yeah.
So, the dog will teach them unconditional love so that hopefully their meter for unconditional love expands, grows. And for me, parang So many people didn't understand that. But it's okay. It's okay. I mean, to the point that, imagine, my daughter went to school in the UK, right? She rescued. She has her rescue, Luna.
Mhm.
And Luna's now here with us. She's already old. And that's the one constant in her life. The nights are very long winter time in the UK. Sunrise is 8, 9 o'clock at the morning. 4 o'clock, it's dark na. And she said it was my long walks in Green Park, in Hyde Park, that really um, kept me whole. So, I mean, wow. So, yeah, and this is what we'd like to impart.
Yeah.
And you are imparting it in a very different way because end stage ka na eh.
Yeah. It's harder. Well, I wouldn't say it's harder, pero when you're adopting a senior canine, it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable. It's giving in to that
Oh,
vulnerability.
di ba? Ang hirap nun, di ba?
Kasi alam mong, I'm going to give my heart to this dog. And then, maybe maybe I'll get a few years with this dog. But 3 years, 5 years, baka wala na. So, it's really allowing yourself to be vulnerable. When you love an animal, na alam mong hanggang dito lang yung life.
Yeah.
Diba? So, I think it's a choice you make every single day.
But it makes you strong.
Yes.
And we were talking about Chica earlier, di ba? The first dog that we had, na dapat papa-adopt na, but in the end, we felt, "Naku, hindi ata natin kaya pakawalan to." We ended up keeping her. She passed away, last year? Years ago?
March 2020.
Even before.
She was
nung-
17.
Yeah,
Wow.
even before she got to that age, talagang pag-usapan na namin ng mga handlers dito. Pag si Chica na wala magtatago, iyakan tayo.
Yeah.
You're so, and whenever we have, makikita niyo yung aming mga earns doon, ang dami na rin nag-pass away. Before, I could not go through like an orientation without tearing up. Now, meron pa rin. Pero, you learn to accept. It's part of having and loving and taking care of these senior
Start
dogs.
all over again.
Right.
And
Oo.
Pag una kasi, when you're just preparing for their eventual passing, you feel like, after nito ayoko na. Pause muna ako kasi hindi ko kaya. But then, may asong kailangan ka, hihindian mo ba?
Yeah. No,
So-
I feel exactly in our case, in our case, many times we rescue only to give them a safe place for them to die.
Yep.
It's pass on crossover. It's like they die within 48 hours. You rescue them na pinaghirapan mo yung rescue. Everything. And then, it's like their survival juices keep them going. Then, wait,
I'm in a safe space.
I will now let go. And it drives me crazy. I can never get used to it, right? I can tolerate it. The tolerance has improved. But, oh my gulay, ang sakit.
It's off. Yeah.
And that's why many times, you just cry in the car. You're driving, you hear a song, you cry, you don't know from, my poison kasi is wine. My poison is wine. So, parang sometimes 11 o'clock in the morning, wait, parang hindi ko na kaya. Just a little thing, parang, then I feel all my muscles release, relax. Okay. Okay, I can do this again.
Yeah.
Right?
And you think, I've had a case like that na parang, sana ang matandaan mo yung last few days na nandito ka, right? Forget all the abuse that you experience. Sana matandaan mo no, si Lily, right? We rescued someone
Lily is
before.
an English bulldog na nakita na handlers namin sa labas lang, dyan, sa dirt road, sa gate.
Binabato-bato lang siya ng mga
Mga
bata. Because
bata.
you couldn't even be able to tell. Kasi mange, talagang
Super
sobrang ano na.
payat, emaciated, dehydrated. And then, nagtataka kami kasi may bulldog na nakawala lang dyan sa labas. And liblib yung area namin eh. So, saan to galing? Apparently, came from a breeding facility. We don't know where.
You know, I want to bust those guys. Sorry. Huh? That's why I wanted what we were talking about
Yes.
earlier. I want to do that.
So, this dog came from a puppy mill. And we just had her for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Few weeks lang. Tumataba na siya. So we were feeling very hopeful. Kasi good signs. And then this one morning,
I think what happened was, nung nasa labas siya, it wasn't a few weeks, a few days lang, parang nakalulun siya ng buto ng mangga, maraming mangga dito. No? And then when
Before we
when
took her in.
nakabalot sa plastic, and when she tried to,
Regurgitate, wala.
ayun, na-stuck na dito.
Yun.
And then that's how she passed.
so, I don't know. I mean, kami din, we never say, we don't really say adopt, don't shop.
Yeah.
Kasi we understand nga, like, dogs are, these pure breeds, they're bred for a specific task or a specific function.
Like
We
your
have-
canines.
Yes, the canines. So, Belgian Malinois, the Labradors
Oh,
for
they're
explosive
brilliant.
detection.
Grabe.
The Bloodhounds for,
Yeah.
sniffing.
Yeah.
So, we're not against breeding at all. Ang sinasabi lang namin, if you intend to buy, if gusto mong bumili, you look for a reputable breeder.
Yun.
Huwag kang pupunta sa mga backyard breeders na pumunta ka sa facility nila. Kilatisin mo.
Yeah.
Yun.
No. And for me, like when people say like that, then they say, oh, I need a hypoallergenic. I said, give me 6 months, maghanap ako for you. Diba? Na-rehome na lang.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Because sometimes those backyard breeders, they don't get to sell everything. What happens to that?
Yeah.
Diba? So I have a few na parang, it's not me, pero they know and they say, Ma'am Rina, may ganito, ganon. Sige, dali mo sa akin. Ganon na lang. And then, try to find na lang rehome.
Yeah.
But, it's tough. It's tough. It's really tough. There's justice. We have a couple. I don't get kasi to post, like you said, time. I don't get to post everything. And the marketing group is doing all these other things for us because we need to survive. We need to get the word out. So I don't get to post so much. But, there's also this other aspect. Si Danao. Danao is what? The black dog is what? A pit bull? Parang pit bull siya na ewan. Parang pit bull, very badly bred pit bull, Danao, Quezon City. The ears are even cropped. Somebody obviously took care of this dog. It was like that, skin and bones. Almost like when it was in the car coming, we thought it would die because with this heat, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this stupid comments. We didn't really, we just, it was somebody else's post, right? And they said, oh, kasi, kaya nga na-rescue kasi may lahi. Ang sakit. Ang sakit niyan for me, for us, kasi, we've given you, we have 1,300. What the hell are you talking
Yeah.
about? We have 3 or 4 na may breed. The rest is all your rejects.
Yeah.
So, wow, talaga, ang kitid ng, ang isip, right? So, that's what you then you get manhid for those things, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
But for me, nothing hurts more than when you rescue and then they just fade away and then you just try to train yourself to say, you gave them a few hours. They died with a full belly. They were fed. They felt comfort. They felt yun. And that vulnerability makes you strong in ways that you can't use words for.
Yeah.
I think it helps drive us na parang kahit papano nabigyan natin sila, kahit
Yeah.
papano naramdaman nila what it feels to be in this kind of environment na halos one-to-one ang pag-alaga sa kanila. We know them by name, handlers know them by name, we know their quirks, their personalities, ano yung kailangan nila. Parang mabigyan sila ng ganun na ano.
That dignity before they expire.
Oo nga.
And I think kasi as animal welfare advocates, parang masakit for us to feel like we can't do everything. Pero ang thinking siguro namin sa Hound Haven, since we're rather small compared to others, is while we can't do everything for all of the animals, we'll try to do everything we can, at least for the animals in our care. So, maliit man, we're doing our best, at least
And that's
dun sa
all.
mga inaalagaan
And that's
natin.
all that matters.
Exactly.
And that's why when people say, I say no. I wish there were more shelters like you, small, dedicated, because we can't fix everything. And my other pet peeve also is how many people hate the pounds. But my point is, if there is no pasaway and no irresponsible pet parent, there will be no pound.
Mhm.
It's a chicken and egg thing. And yes, of course, maybe some pounds or practices are awful. There's not enough funding. There's not whatever. O sige. All right. But if you didn't be irresponsible in the first place, maybe they would have only a few and their funding would be enough.
Mhm.
I don't know how to, and I'm not protecting the pounds. I'm just saying,
It's
there's
a
so
systemic
much.
problem.
Super. Yet, they thrive on hate.
Mhm.
They thrive on negativity. So sabi ko, I don't like this idea of tearing down
Or demonizing.
or demonizing. What can you build? What can you do? Yun na lang. That's what I prefer.
I think the key to it is acknowledging na yung problem is systemic.
Oo.
That's the first step. And the second step is acknowledging that you're part of the system. You're not external to it. So you can actually do something, help out the pounds, don't demonize them, don't antagonize them, because really, their hands are tied.
Yeah.
It's such a horrible job. No one
Horrible.
wants to euthanize a healthy dog or a healthy animal, right? But wala silang space.
Yeah.
Wala silang food.
In fact,
what
I
can
know
we do together?
somebody called my attention, uy, kaibigan mo si ganito, ganon. Alam mo yan, ganon. Sabi ko, I said, nakita niyo ba yung kalyo sa kamay niya? Kasi yung mga assistants niya na babae, umiiyak, hindi nila kayang i-euthanize. Pero anong gagawin niya? They'll eat each other in a dog fight kasi sa dami sa loob. So, that's the reality.
Yeah.
And I always say, no vet.
Would want to do it.
That's not what they studied for.
I think it's the othering. Sila yun. But really, it's tayo yun. And we can all do something. We
Yes.
cannot be external to that system.
No, that's it nga eh. That's why, it's so funny. On the way here, a pigeon hit the side of our car
Oh no.
and then felt, so we made a big U-turn. We came back. Good na lang parang the pigeon was nahilo lang or whatever. Talagang, and the guy was like, you turned around. Parang, huh? No. Give me the, you have to, things happen and you have to stop if you can. And just wonder sequence of events, how the universe conspires, etc. And you don't need to call out in a bad way, but you can say, hey, teka, can we do something together? How can you this and that without the negativity?
Mhm.
I always say, okay, you have a problem, so what's your solution?
Yeah.
Give me your solution. think about it. What's your role in it? That's why I hate this mga reporting. Nakita lang namin,
And
napadaan
they
lang, and I always say, stop with the awa, or stop with this to get digital creator, 1,000 in your FB. Stop that nonsense. Put a letter G instead of in front of the awa, and anong gagawin mo? Ano yung gawa mo? Right? And be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you so much. It was
Thank you so
so
much.
heartwarming. There was a moment there that I thought I wanted to start to cry. And, we just need to work with each other. So, listen, guys, we're here in Hound Heaven. If canines are your thing, if you come visit them, contact them on their web page or their Facebook page. Maxime and Jerome, please give your message. Where can they donate? If they can donate in kind, in cash, what you need right now, please.
Yeah. So, marami pong ways para tumulong kayo. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can foster, you can even sponsor a canine. Pwede po kayong maging ninong at ninang ng mga canines namin dito sa center. And of course, I think the most admirable thing you can do is open your homes and your hearts to a new member of the family, possibly a canine from Hound Haven. So if interesado po kayo, you want to learn more about our advocacy, what we do, who we are, you can check out our website. It's houndhavenph.org. We're also on Instagram and Facebook as @houndhavenph. If may mga ideas po kayo for partnerships, we're always open. We want to be very collaborative when it comes to, the animal welfare problem here in the Philippines. So i-message nyo lang po kami. As simple as getting the word out, sharing, working dog welfare. Very important po sa amin yun.
Even if you think all you can do is visit, isipin nyo hindi malaking bagay, but it's important for our canines. It's part of their retraining para mas...
Yes, because they're really attached to humans.
Right.
They still need
Right.
their humans.
So parang yung makakakita sa ibang tao, may mga bata silang nakaka-interact, it's good for them kasi it prepares them better to be parang a home pet.
And aside from that, I think we also need help on yung pag may mga events, helping us, bring the canines, the events.
Yeah, because you rarely bring your canines because it's a
very-
challenge.
It's a challenge, and then they're seniors. So yung just the 1 hour of being in a car, very tiring, very taxing for them. So ang best talaga is if-foster sila for a few days, probably a week, and then at least may rest in between all the traveling. So we're actually looking for volunteers who can help us with that. So we're always open naman po. Please send us a message if meron kayong ideas on how else we can collaborate.
So, okay, mga kabiyaya, this is Rina. We're signing off and we're gonna enjoy our time now in Hound Haven in Bulacan. It's not so far. On a weekend, it's easy. It's very easy. I-try nyo lang po. What can make you happy is hindi namin alam po. So try nyo lang, punta po kayo dito, tingnan nyo, makikilig din po kayo. Kasi malaki yung aso, gwapo sila, even if senior sila, makikita mo, baka first time nyo makita na may tripod po dito. Pero, the tripod is just, parang hindi niya alam, tripod siya, wala siyang pakialam, happy pa rin siya. And let this all teach you that we are one nation, one living organization, or one living community with our companion animals. Salamat po mga kabiyaya. Sa susunod. Hello mga kabiyaya. We are here to discuss anything under veterinary services, rescues, adoptions, TNVR, animal welfare, responsible pet ownerships. Anything and everything as well in between. Kung nais po ninyong magiging isang biyaya sa aming mga alagang aso't pusa, please comment below or message our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. Maraming salamat.